Why does getting into Aitchison College matter so much for families in Pakistan?
Aitchison College has been there for almost 140 years. So legacies. Fathers are Aitchisonians, grandfathers are Aitchisonians. So they want to keep that legacy going. Aitchison gives a very complete approach. You have co-curricular activities, and I believe especially the sports for boys. The exposure that Aitchison gives, the teams have been going to Qatar, coaches coming from Manchester United Club. Facilities that they provide, I don't think anybody else has them in Lahore or in Pakistan for that matter.
How soon should a child come to an admissions coach?
I think at the age of 4 to 4.5. Every child is different. Reading should be started at a very early age. Even when the child can't read, I think the parents can read to the children.
What you're saying is that parents' involvement and engagement with the child who is going to appear for this test is very important.
I always say it's a triangle.
Yes.
So, on one end there are parents, then there's the child, and then the teacher or the school. It has to be all three together.
What subjects are tested?
There are going to be aptitude tests included from this year. Lately, we've had English, Maths and Urdu. So all three subjects.
What role does age play?
I believe it should be a fair system. Having a medical test makes sure that the children are in the age bracket, because a lot of parents, they change their children's age, which is not fair to the other ones. So I always tell the parents that now that the medical test is before the test, there are a lot of chances that you will be rejected. Having a medical test is a great effort by Aitchison College.
What are the specific areas children, or boys I should say, tend to struggle with the most?
Urdu, especially. A lot of parents have been focusing on English and Maths more. It's very unfortunate. Urdu as a language is as important as English. And this year the Urdu paper was very lengthy. The comprehension was very detailed.
So when kids come to you, they come for 2 hours?
An hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what the child needs. Again, I have an individual education plan for each child. Every child is at a different level, but I think at this age, an hour and a half is also more than enough. Parents become over-ambitious, they focus on the outlines. Like this year, the exam was so easy, it was so age-appropriate. Stick to what the college has given you for the outlines. And they have seasoned teachers there. They have very solid academically profiled teachers who have designed this syllabus. So, sticking to that syllabus is very important.
Can you briefly walk us through the admissions process? How do we start the admissions process?
Admission process is very transparent. Everything is on their website, starting from the date of birth to the syllabus to the test breakdowns. Everything is on their website. So the main entry points for Aitchison College are grade 2 and grade 7. Grade 1 is only boarders.
Is it true that family connections or kinship plays an important role while applying for your son at Aitchison College?
Zahra, they used to have kinship and they used to have points for kinship. When Michael Thompson came in, the last principal, he very clearly announced that he's not going to award kinship points to anybody.
Hello and welcome to ISOK, In Search for Knowledge. I'm Zahra Hidayatullah. Today we're kicking off with a deep dive into one of the toughest challenges for a 6-year-old, getting into the prestigious Aitchison College. And I'm sitting here with the renowned and seasoned admissions coach, Miss Gul, who has helped countless families crack this competitive code. So hi Gul.
Hi Zahra, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I just want to first start this talk by asking you a simple question. Why does getting into Aitchison College matter so much for families in Pakistan?
Zahra, there are different factors to it. First of all, Aitchison College has been there for almost 140 years. So legacies. A lot of parents that come to me are, fathers are Aitchisonians, grandfathers are Aitchisonians. So they want to keep that legacy going. And then personally speaking, I'm a parent also. So I understand that it's a very good institute. We do have a lot of schools in Lahore, even in Pakistan. We have a very few institutes. Aitchison gives a very complete approach. You have co-curricular activities, you have sports, and I believe especially the sports for boys, the facilities that they provide, I don't think anybody else has them in Lahore or in Pakistan for that matter.
Can you elaborate on some of the sporting facilities like riding and things that are in school that Aitchison College is offering that other schools are probably not offering or not offering at the same level?
I think, almost all the schools are offering sports, but the exposure that Aitchison gives, I believe the teams have been going to Qatar last year also, this year also. And then right before COVID, we had coaches coming from Manchester United Club. Yes. They used to come every summers and they used to coach children. And the best part was, even though they used to come for 10 days, They were there morning and evenings. Like we were up in the morning, 5 o'clock I remember we used to get up. We used to be in Aitchison by 5:30. They would coach them in the morning and then they would go again in the evening. So, even though you're paying for it, the parents are made to pay for it, but they're very transparent and they make sure that whatever you're paying, it's worth it.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's something really good about them.
Can you briefly walk us through the admissions process? Because a lot of parents ask me, how do we start the admissions process?
Zahra, now we have a lot of preparatory schools. There are a couple of schools that have started preparation at a very early age. The first thing which is very important is the age bracket. So every year you have to make sure you look at the calendar. They have identified the boys have to be between 1st June and 31st May, depending on the year. So between 5 to 6 years old, but we start much earlier. And the admission process is very transparent. Everything is on their website. Aitchison's website covers each and every detail about the admission process, starting from the date of birth to the syllabus to the test breakdowns. Everything is on their website. But when you said what time should we start, I mean, I believe 3.5. A lot of schools actually start enrolling children at 2.5. I personally think that's a bit too early. 3 to 3.5 is the right age. Again, then the schools also put the children in the appropriate classes. They break down, they make the child's calendar, the age calendar, all the schools do that. So, and then again, it's your choice which school is more appropriate for you. Sometimes it's the fee, sometimes it's a distance. So all those things should be kept in mind before deciding the school as well.
Okay, so that is the approach to the preparatory schools.
Yeah.
But how soon should a child come to an admissions coach before they appear for the test?
I think at the age of 4 to 4.5. Because like a doctor knows how to give the appropriate medicine, a teacher knows how to guide the parents in the right direction. So, every child is different. Some children like to write more, some children look at visuals more. So, a right coach can guide you how to go about it. Again, for this, reading is a very important factor. So, I think reading should be started at a very early age. Even when the child can't read, I think the parents can read to the children and help them identify and then discuss what they're reading. Again, reading otherwise also is a very good habit to have, not just for Aitchison. So I always recommend the parents to first key is reading, to start with the reading at a very young age.
So basically what you're saying is that parents' involvement and engagement with the child who is going to appear for this test is very important.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
You can't just send a child to an admissions coach and think that this is it and I'm sorted and it's the job of the admissions coach, right?
That's not how it works exactly.
I
always say it's a triangle.
Yes.
So, on one end there are parents, then there's the child, and then the teacher or the school. I mean, even if he's not going to an admissions coach, he's going to a preparatory school, the triangle has to be complete. The parents have to be completely involved. And in most of the cases, it's the mothers, I understand there are very, very few fathers. There are a few fathers who are involved, but it's, of course, the percentage is way less. So that unless the triangle is complete, I have yet to see a child where the parents are not involved and he's gotten in. It has to be all three together.
So basically what you're saying is, yes, the parents are involved, but the fathers are not so hands-on, but the mothers are. But I think usually what I've seen is that it's the fathers who are driving this force because they want their sons to go to the same school. Most of the fathers usually are Aitchisonians, and the ones who are not, they aspire for their sons to go
I totally agree with you.
To Aitchison. So I think it's the fathers driving the mothers to the point where the mothers get so involved and then it becomes their dream also, shared dream, and then they pass it on to the child. But what subjects are tested and what kind of skills or concepts are tested for those subjects?
Okay, so lately, again, we'll talk about till this year because every year there's something new and we have started hearing there are going to be aptitude tests included from this year. But lately we've had English, Maths and Urdu. In the COVID times, there was no Urdu test because of course there was a lot of pressure, there was a long distance learning going on. Children were not able to go to the school that regularly. So it was only English and Maths, which was much easier for a lot of parents, but now we have Urdu as well. So all three subjects.
So we're back to including Urdu in the testing curriculum.
Just like pre-COVID times, it was always there.
What has changed after COVID for the test? Because I know now the principal does not sit for the interviews with the selected candidates. Yeah. And what role does age play? How does age come into the admissions process? Because I know it's kind of stringent. There's a medical test that happens before before the child sits for the academic test. So how does that happen?
Which is a very good thing, Zahra, because I believe it should be a fair system. And this year, we've had a new principal come in, and I believe the results this year were much fairer. I still think that, having a medical test makes sure that the children are in the age bracket that has been given by the college, because a lot of parents, they change their children's age, which is not fair to the other ones, especially the younger ones, because we have the age bracket starting from 1st of June to 31st of May. So again, the June borns have an advantage because they're older than the May born. Again, it is a difference of almost 12 months. A child born on 1st June versus a child born on 30th May or 31st May. There's a difference of almost a year. So there comes a huge difference. But then parents come in and they change the dates. So then it becomes even further difficult for the children who are younger. So I think having a medical test is a great effort by Aitchison College. And I have seen a lot of cases where the parents have come to me and I can identify. It takes me a minute to identify while there are doctors sitting there. They check their knuckles, they look at their teeth, so they can also identify. I'm not a medical person and I can tell. So I always tell the parents that now that the medical test is before the test, there are a lot of chances that you will be rejected. And I have seen a couple of cases, like last year I had a couple of cases where I kept on telling the parents, you cannot get away with this. And they were like, okay, let's see. And the child did not get in. And this year also, we had a case like that. I had a case like that with me. I told the parents from the very first day, it's a risk. If you guys are willing to take, my job is to help you prepare your child, but I'm telling you very honestly and very transparently, it's a huge risk. And that child, even though he was really good with his work, of course he was older, he did not get in. And I think the only reason he did not get in was because they identified that he's older than the other children.
So how does changing the age of the child impact his competitive performance? Because he's only a year or so older, which, as you identified, the June born is almost 12 months or 11 months older than the child who's born in May and appearing for the same test. So how does it impact?
So imagine a child who's born a complete year before them. Children applying from 1st June 2019 to 31st May 2020. If we have an older child, of course he's able to read more, he's able to use better vocabulary,
yes.
He is more mature, his critical thinking is better, so he will have an edge. And that makes a huge difference. Even a couple of months make a huge difference. I always tell parents that the May borns are at a disadvantage. But this year I had a child who was born on 30th May and he was one of my brightest students and he made it. Mashallah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, again, if they have decided to keep an age bracket from 1st of June to May 30th or May 31st, they've thought over it. There are academic people sitting behind it. They know what they're doing. They have, they're very seasoned. They have designed this whole process for the past so many years. I mean, the college is over 140, almost 140 years old. So they know what they're doing.
Yes.
So,
Now you're dealing with very small boys here, and they're boys. And boys will be boys, they will be naughty, they love running around, they love playing, and this is the age when they have bursts of energy. So what is your approach to having them sit down, calm them down, and train them for this competitive, crazy, tough test?
It is.
How do you do it?
It is very crazy.
What is your approach?
No doubt about it. I believe discipline and consistency. So when they're with me, they know that this is the time we're going to sit down and we're going to study. But of course, you have to keep them giving breaks. I always tell the parents that at this age, 20-minute stretch is an ideal stretch. Give them a break. Like I've taught my own son. I was his mother, I was his teacher, I was his coordinator, I was his tutor, everybody, right? So I used to give him 20 minutes and then he was obsessed with cricket at that time. So I used to tell him, go and play. And then you can always incorporate these sports into their studies. Like you can tell them that, let's add some footballs if somebody's interested in footballs, and let's subtract some footballs from this, and how many goals did this team score, and how many goals. So you can make it more interactive and fun for them as well.
Yes.
So that is also one of the ways you can, have them stay interested and focused on their work. Especially when you're doing creative writings, they hate doing it because it's a lot of writing. So again, for instance, if we're writing about happiest day of my life, I tell them to write about a sports match, write about anything that they like. So you can incorporate their favorites and their interests in what they're studying. So that really helps as well.
I was about to come to that. What are the specific areas children, or boys, I should say, tend to struggle with the most?
Urdu.
Okay.
Especially. It's also because of the COVID days, a lot of parents have been focusing on English and maths more. It's very unfortunate.
You also mentioned that boys tend to struggle with creative writing also. Why is that? Why are boys not... the other thing I've noticed recently is that what a lot of parents, and not just coaches, but it's just the parents also, what they're doing is that they're making these specific topics, they're outlining those specific topics and making pointers for the boys, and they want the boys to rote learn those pointers and say that if you get an essay like this is what you say, and this is what you go along these lines. And now making a 4-5-year-old, because he's coming to you almost a year in advance of appearing his test. If he's appearing at almost 6, he's coming to you at almost 4.5, 5. And to make a little boy learn, those pointers for creative writing, that's taking almost like the joy out of thinking and creative writing.
That's a very interesting question that you asked. Just day before yesterday, a mother called me and she said, we've been writing about my parrot, or it was a pigeon, on my pet, and today he's written about my dog. And I said, it's perfectly all right. We have to teach them thinking out of the box. It's not about rote learning, it's creativity. So I don't tell them to, I have never written a creative writing on the board. I've taught them the 6 traits of creative writing. So, it has 6 breakdowns. I have to tell them that what is the beginning, what is the middle, what is the end. I teach them all that. I don't believe in rote learning because unfortunately, what if there's a topic they've never written about? Like not this year, the year before, is a talk about a tourist. And these 5-year-olds, they all read it as a tortoise.
Oh.
And they started writing. He was in a safari park and they started writing about it, and it was perfectly fine because, a tourist can be in a park and a tortoise can be in a... But that was something nobody had ever thought of.
Exactly.
And with this AI, AI can generate such amazing topics that you can't think of. So, it's not about rote learning. Creative writing can never be rote learning. You have to teach them how to write, thinking out of the box, and write independently. So I teach them how to make an essay out of their own thinking skills. Same thing for my son. When he appeared, I still remember we did Happiest Day of My Life, and he used to write about his surprise birthday party. And when he went for the Aitchison exam, he came home and he said, I wrote about a match that I went to see in Nottingham. And I was like, you never wrote about it. And he's like, I felt like it. I was like, fair enough, So I don't believe on doing rote learning when it comes to creative writing. It's the techniques, it's the vocabulary. Again, reading comes into place. The more you read, the more vocabulary you learn, the more, exposure you have. So again, reading. Reading is the key to this as well.
So we keep circling back to reading.
Yes, absolutely.
What I did with my son was that before, while we were preparing for this, my daughter, who's a year younger than my son, her and myself and my son, we used to read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory together, and we used to, mimic the voices of the characters, and we had divided the characters amongst us, and every night we used to read a chapter or 2. And it really helped because at the day of the test, my son got a prompt for creative writing, and it was a sunny day, ...
Yeah.
And then he just had to make up a story, and it was none of the topics that he had practiced with his admissions coach. And it was completely out of the blue, and I asked him what he wrote, and he talked about a day at the beach and how the pigeon, snatched a sandwich out of his hand, and I was really happy and I was comfortable. And he said, Mama, don't worry because I'm going to get in, and he did.
Yeah, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, exactly.
But yes, so children need to know how to tackle prompts. Like the year after my son's admission, I was asking some other mothers, and their prompt was, what if I was king for a day?
Yeah.
So these are completely random topics that are coming out of the blue, and there is no fixed pattern as such.
There's no fixed pattern. There are no past papers.
What happens in Urdu? Because a lot of mothers are now getting confused because in between these interim years, COVID years, there was no Urdu.
Yeah.
Now that it's back, how do mothers prepare their kids for Urdu? What are the skills that they need to do? Grammar, creative writing? Can you talk about that?
Again, same thing. Like English, we need a lot of Urdu vocabulary. A lot of children that come to us, they don't even know what Suraj is. Chand, Suraj, they have no concept because we don't speak in Urdu with them, which is very unfortunate. So the first step basically that we have is we end up teaching them Urdu, like the basic words. Like Urdu bolni hai, Urdu likhni hai, unko apna naam nahi likhna aata Urdu mein. and we are still struggling. अब कुछ नाम बहुत मुश्किल हैं. For instance, ईसा लिखना है. So sound end में अलिफ की है and it has a छोटी है और उसके ऊपर खड़ी ज़बर आती है. So it's very difficult for children. So again, जिस तरह English पे focus करें, same thing. The focus has to be equally divided between English and Urdu. Urdu as a language is as important as English. And this year, the Urdu paper was very lengthy. The comprehension was very detailed. It was about a Shararti Ali. So, it had words like, वो मिठाई लेने गया, वो मिठाई लेकर नहीं आया, या उसने खा ली, अम्मी को गुस्सा चढ़ गया. It was very long. And the mothers were like, oh my God, but बच्चे अगर उर्दू बोलेंगे, that's the only way they'll be able to read and write. So, it's really unfortunate.
It's kind of sad because it is our national language, and at the end of the day, whether they live here or not, it is what roots them to this country.
So, Urdu coming back in my books is a great advantage for the children. Yes, of course, for the test, it's a bit more difficult to prepare Urdu, English and maths. But we've done it in the past. And I believe that in the longer run, it's something which is beneficial for the boys.
And now there are no longer interviews being conducted for the selected candidates. So maybe for, I don't know how long that will go on for. But however long they don't have interviews, they have that leverage where, they can just appear for the written test. And then, also, now we're talking about English and Urdu. What about math? What do we do about math? Because there are certain concepts that I feel are a bit too soon to be taught to a 5-year-old.
Zahra, I always tell the parents to stick to the syllabus given. Parents become over ambitious. They focus on the outlines and the concepts of the other year groups. Like for instance, there's a topic 3D shapes. They want their 5-year-old to understand what a 3D shape is, what are vertices, what are corners, what are edges. No, you don't have to. Like this year, the exam was so easy. It was so age appropriate. Stick to what the college has given you for the outlines. And like I said, they know what they're doing. They have seasoned teachers there. They have very solid academically profiled teachers who have designed this syllabus and who are making these exams for us. So, sticking to that syllabus is very important. So as long as you are focusing on what's given by the college, I don't think there's anything in math also that is not age appropriate.
So when kids come to you, they come for 2 hours, a period of 2 hours, or?
An hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what the child needs. Again, I have an individual education plan for each child. Not, I don't have a classroom environment. Every child is at a different level. Every child is doing something different. So at times I believe the children need more time. But I think at this age, an hour and a half is also more than enough. Sometimes they are done in an hour. So, I have to tell them, okay, go, take a round, go read something, and then come back to me. Because they're just 5-year-olds, 6 years old. They're too young to go through this pressure. I keep telling them it's like a CSS exam, and they have no idea what they're doing.
Yes.
So all the pressure is because of the parents. Whereas for a CSS exam, it's a 25, 26-year-old person who knows what he's doing in life.
So how do you balance test preparation when they come to you, they get tired? What do you do with them that releases their emotional energy or keeps them mentally calm?
First of all, I've kept the period of the class is very short. Okay. So usually an hour and a half, like I tell the parents, they tell me that, that teacher is doing 3 hours, that teacher is doing 4 hours. And I like, why don't you go and sit in the classroom for 4 hours and see if your child is actually studying for those 3 hours or 4 hours. Because that's not how it works. After an hour, they're exhausted. So I keep incorporating different activities as well. I will not lie to you, there are no hands-on activities because we're talking about Aitchison prep. But we keep switching between, like if we're doing English for the first 20 minutes, we'll come back and we'll do something on reasoning, something on, pick out the odd ones out, where their mental skills are also developed. And then we come back to maths, and then we come back to Urdu. So keep switching on different things because they get exhausted.
Okay. What are the common mistakes that parents make while filing the paperwork or during the admissions process? Is there something that you have identified, like you identified about the age? Sometimes they play around with the age. What else do they do that you feel that is hindering their son's admission?
The form is very straightforward.
Okay.
They've made things very easy actually.
So the form is available online?
It's available online.
And when does it come online?
It comes online around October. Yeah. So you download the form. You fill it out.
You get to know how many seats are there for that year.
Yes, absolutely.
Most of the admissions are for
day scholars.
For days.
Class 2 and then E2, which is grade 7.
Okay.
So the main entry points for Aitchison College are grade 2 and grade 7. Grade 1 is only boarders. So grade 2 and grade 7 we have day scholars as well as boarders. Grade 3, 4, 5, 6, for the past 2 years have had 5 to 7 seats, somewhere around 10 seats sometimes. But again, because they're not the main entry points. And they have a couple of new boarding schools, due to which they have started taking admissions in these other grades. And they're mostly boarders. So the form comes around October, but the syllabus and the number of seats is usually uploaded somewhere in August, way before the form. You download the form, and they mention the amount that has to be attached. So you get a pay order made, you attach that pay order with the form. Usually you have to attach your original documents, which includes your pay form, if you are a Pakistani citizen. ID cards, parents' ID cards, I think that you need a photocopy of, and the child's pictures and the school reports. More or less, I think that's about it. And a sports record. If your child is good at swimming or writing, you attach that. And they send you the forms back. The original documents always come back. So you send those documents and then you send it through a courier service. You're not allowed to go to the college. You cannot visit the college for admission processes. I mean, if you're an Aitchisonian, or otherwise if you want to visit, I think there are facilities available. You email them and they allow you a tour of the college, but not for Aitchison admission purpose.
You can't book a specific appointment with the principal?
No, you can't. No, he doesn't meet anybody for admissions because they have put everything online. It's a very smooth and a very easy and transparent system. The form is there. You put the pay order. You send it through courier. Within a day or two, you get the receipt that you've received it, and then you start getting further documentations and information. Everything online. So they've made it easier for all the parents.
What is that one practical advice you would give to parents who are doing this, who are applying for their son for the first time?
Again, stick to the rules. Try to follow the outlines that are given on the website, follow the syllabus given on the website, and start reading at a very early age. Why I keep on emphasizing on reading is because nobody helps them. When they go to the college for the test, when they're there, they have to read the instructions, they have to follow the instructions. So if the question says circle the odd one out and they're underlining it, the question will be marked completely wrong because they haven't followed the instructions. So read from a very early age. And I believe stay honest and be honest to your child from the very young age. And changing date of births and all that, I think avoid doing all that. I always tell parents not to do that. I mean, I don't believe in doing that.
So is it true that family connections or kinship plays an important role while applying for your son at Aitchison College?
Zahra, they used to have kinship and they used to have points for kinship. When Michael Thompson came in, the last principal, he very clearly announced that he's not going to award kinship points to anybody. But I personally believe that yes, they do have a soft edge and there is some priority given. But again, this year, things were much different. I've noticed that the children who actually qualified for the test were in. So I'm really hoping that transparency and honesty stays on, and they focus on the talent of the children and their honest and fair admission scores rather than kinship and that priority that was given previously because of the family names and those connections.
Thank you for talking
My
to
pleasure.
us and walking us through this very, very competitive process.
Thank you for having me.
You.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. We were speaking to Ms. Gul, who runs the Learning Center in Lahore, and it is one of the most renowned places for admissions into Aitchison College. So if you want your son to be wearing an Aitchison blazer one day, please, you can visit her at the Learning Center in Lahore. Thank you, Gul.